So they're fighting over Ultron, but when this book is all said and done, he won't look like the villain. This is crazy. Support the comic book industry by visiting your local LCS. My name is Dorian. This is SEO Comics. We continue our coverage of West Coast Avengers with number 6. Our story starts off months ago at the West Coast Avengers stronghold, where you have Rhodey, Tony, and Ultron, and they're having a weird discussion. Let me explain. What makes it weird is Ultron's trying to learn how to talk like a human, so he says, "You have to be shitting me." And Ultron's like, "How's that?" And Rhodey was like, "It was cringy. Man, I'm not even gonna lie." So Ultron's like, "How so?" And Rhodey's like, "Well, it sounds disconcerting, especially because of how many people you killed." So the Ultron's like, "Well, that was in the past. It was a lifetime ago." And Rhodey was like, "Especially for the dead people." But then on the other hand, Tony is like, "All right, so you're an Avenger now." And Ultron's like, "I don't know if I should be an Avenger for what he did in the past. Like, make it make sense. Which one is it? Do you feel like the past is behind you, or are you trying to make up for it? Like, you can't be both. Straddling the fence here." Anyway, Tony's pretty much like, "Look, as long as you remain open source and I know what's going on with you, I have no issues." So now we cut to a few weeks ago on Catalina Island, where Tony is sitting on his yacht and the Wasp show up. And she's like, "That's a stupid idea." And of course, Tony rebuttals back. And Wasp's like, "Look, I know I can't change your stubborn ass mind, so I'm not going to try. All I want to know is, what's your backup plan?" And then you got to now where you have Storm, Wanda, Vision, not WandaVision, but Wanda and Vision, Captain America, and Captain Marvel. A lot of captains here. And I'm wondering the same thing that Wasp was wondering on the yacht. Are you stupid? So then Tony's like, "Damn, did I accidentally send out the Evite?" Then he gets serious. He's like, "Nah, I know why you guys here. And to tell you the truth, we need to talk." He's like, "Why is it that when I'm with you guys on the East Coast, I'm like senior leadership, but then when I come over here on the West Coast, you treat me like a trainee? Why do I have to explain myself to you guys?" Now, what he sounds like a CEO that has to answer to a board. That's why if you have a big company, yeah, you might want to get bigger, but the way to get bigger is to go public. If you go public, that means you have a board, and that board can get rid of your ass. Just ask Vince McMahon. Just ask Steve Jobs the first time around. Like, it's not worth it. I'd rather be a multi-millionaire with a thriving company than a billionaire that's fired. And yes, eventually, they're going to fire your ass. Anyway, back to the story. Vision and Tony are going at it because for Vision, this is personal, especially with his history with Ultron. And just can't believe that Tony's bringing in one of their oldest enemies. And yes, Ultron is one of their oldest enemies. Like, I think he debuted, 1968? Makes him 57 years old. I mean, he's like an original Gen Xer. And me, I just made it into the Generation X. Like, literally, if I was born a year later, I'd have been a millennial. And the way that people are disrespecting boomers, man, I just can't wait until we take their place and people start disrespecting the Xers. Oh, there goes that Xer talking. There goes the Xer talking. There is no greater joy than being disrespected by somebody who you probably have underwear that's older than them. I'm not gonna lie, me, I go right there. Like, as soon as they start talking all that mess, I'm like, "What's your name?" I might know your mama. I might be your daddy. I'm sorry, I went on another tangent. So, like I said, Vision and Iron Man are just going at it. And Ultron tries to step in to try to explain himself. He gets a little bit closer to Vision, and Wanda steps in and is like, homeboy, you need to give us 10 feet. Like, keep your ass back. So then Sam's like, "Look, Ultron, this easy way to settle this. Just surrender us, and then we can figure things out." Ultron's like, "Yeah, no problem." And Rhodey and Tony is like, "No." And then Blue Bolt, he's like, "Yes." He just couldn't wait to get something started. Like, man, that's the wrong dude to like be in the military with, because that's the dude that's going to shoot first, and he's going to get you killed. So this dude throws some lightning right at Carol and Sam, and then Storm steps in, catches the lightning, and was like, "I guess you don't know who I am." And Blue Bolt's like, "I know who you are. You're the mutant that can make lightning." And Storm's like, "No, young one. I am lightning." So then Vision grabs Ultron, and Ultron's like, dude, I actually agree with you. Sam throws his shield, bounces off Tony, bounces off War Machine, but Ultron catches it. Is like, that trick don't work on me. But here's your shield back because I don't want to fight. And Tony's like, don't give him his shield back. So Spider-Woman is fighting Wanda, and she's like, how did I get stuck with a Scarlet Witch? Like, how'd that happen? Tony, we need to switch. Like, you take Wanda. And then Captain Marvel comes out of nowhere, picks up War Machine, and just takes him in the atmosphere. And it's like, we need to talk. Now, for those of you who don't know, Carol and Rhodey had a thing going on back in the day. Or, like, they're both in the Air Force. Rhodey outranks her just by a little bit. But yeah, back in the day, they had a thing going on. And it looks like, look on Carol's face, they still might have a thing going on. So Wanda's still fighting Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman once tagged out. Iron Man is dealing with Captain America. Ultron and Vision are going at it, which Ultron is still saying he doesn't want to fight. But the highlight of this whole book is Storm and Blue Bolt. They both have lightning power, so they're like canceling each other out. So Blue Bolt's like, all right, so how you want to handle this? You want to do muskets, chests, you want to throw hands? Storm's like, I like the last idea. And Blue Bolt's like, are you sure you want to do this? Storm's like, absolutely, let's do this. Now, for those of you that either read the Storm series or watch my videos, then you know that Storm goes at it with Wolverine. She went at it with Wolverine for like 5 days. If you could take a hit from Wolverine, pretty sure you could take a hit from Blue Bolt. But he about to find out. So Blue Bolt punches Storm right in her face. Little blood on her lip. Storm's like, that was nearly adequate. She came with a left cross, caught him right in his jaw, and then came back with that same left and did a backhand. And Blue Bolt is sleeping. Like, she gave him a 2-piece and just skipped the biscuit because it wasn't needed because that motherfucker is snoring. So everybody, except for Vision and Ultron, just stop what they doing. And they're like, well, God, it's like a Tyson fight. Blink and you missed it. So all of a sudden, Vision just faces his hand through Ultron. Wanda's like, Vision, no. So Vision is seeing everything about Ultron. Like, he can see everything. And he sees that he has no ill intent. And this is where kind of like, I'm like, all right, but then Vision just took it too far. So he sees that there's no ill intent, but Vision's still not convinced. And Vision's like, yeah, but what if he takes over? What if somebody starts controlling him? And then he starts making Ultron choke him out, which I'm thinking to myself, how can you choke out a robot? Like, that doesn't work that way. But I know, comics, semantics. So Tony's trying to pull off Ultron. The other Avengers about to step in. Vision's like, what's your plan, Tony? What's your plan, Tony? Tony's like, damn it, fine. And he hits a button. All of a sudden, in Paris, at a fashion show, Wasp is sitting there and she gets a little beep beep. And she goes to her friend. She's like, I'll be right back. I got to teleport somewhere. Just give me 1 second. Grabs her gun. All of a sudden, she appears and shoots Ultron right in the back of his neck. Ultron falls down. And she comes in and she's about to do a second shot, but then Tony's like, that's right. We was just testing it. It's okay. And then he tells him that that was my contingency plan. Wasp will come in, taps him in the back of his head, and the second one was going to be fatal. But now, that's out the window. So the Ultron's like, hold on, time out. I thought you trusted me. Like, that's why you let me into the Avengers. And Tony's like, I did. But I still had to have a contingency plan, even though I told you I wouldn't need one, but, you know, I did. So then Rhodey helps out Ultron and was like, look, now you are Avenger. You're really not until Tony lies to you. So Vision is still not convinced. And you're never going to convince Vision because Vision was pretty much used as a robotic puppet by Ultron a lot. So he ain't never changing his mind. But the Avengers fly off, and then Spider-Woman wakes up Blue Bolt, and he's like, what happened? Spider-Woman was like, you just found out you up because you got pimp smacked. So Tony's trying to apologize to Ultron. Ultron kind of slaps his hand away. He's like, look, I understand what you did. I don't like what you did. I'm pissed at you, but I understand what you did. But right now, I need some time, so I'm going to fly away. And whenever you're ready to talk, you know, my channels are open, but I'm still pissed at you. So the Wasp talks some mess, and then she teleports back to Paris for a fashion show. Everybody else is headed into their headquarters, and all of a sudden Spider-Woman goes, we got incoming. And Wonder Man comes in hot, both fast and angry. And he goes, I just flew from France, and boy, my lawyer's tired from preparing this cease and desist. But before we get into this old legal jargon, I just need to let off a little bit of steam. Well, I was thinking to myself, like, this dude just got knocked out. I mean, just got knocked out. And now he's about to fight somebody that probably can hit a little bit harder. Like, come on, man. Like, Blue Bolt is catching hell. And he might catch an uppercut. Something tells me that this fight ain't gonna last long. Like, it was a two-piece with Storm. Might be a one-hitter quitter with Wonder Man.